What if I told you that happiness is not something you find, but rather something you cultivate? This might sound like a riddle, but it's a fundamental concept in Buddhism. From this perspective, happiness is not an elusive treasure that we stumble upon by chance. Instead, it's a state of being that we can nurture and grow like a gardener tending to a precious plant. Consider this. We often believe that happiness depends on external circumstances. A new job, a dream house, the perfect partner. We chase these things believing they hold the key to our happiness. Yet the teachings of Buddha introduce a different narrative. They speak of the impermanent nature of happiness that comes from material possessions and worldly achievements. Imagine a child with a new toy. The joy it brings is immense but fleeting. Soon the child grows bored and the toy is discarded. This transient nature of happiness is not just confined to childhood. It extends to all stages of life, into our adult desires and ambitions. The Buddha taught that this type of happiness is ephemeral, as fleeting as a bubble in the wind. Now, if happiness isn't found in these external pursuits, where then can we find it? Buddhism suggests that it lies within us, in our internal state. It's not tied to the tangible or the transient, but rather to the enduring peace and contentment that we can cultivate within ourselves. Mindfulness and meditation are the tools we can use to nurture this inner state of being. They guide us to live in the present, to experience each moment fully and without judgment. They teach us to let go of our attachments to the past and anxieties about the future. In doing so, they lead us to a state of contentment and peace, where happiness naturally flourishes. So how can we cultivate this inner state of happiness? Let's delve into the world of Buddhism to find out. Mindfulness is not just a practice, but a way of life in Buddhism. Picture for a moment the life of Emily, an accomplished lawyer who, despite her professional success, found herself constantly stressed and unhappy. Then she discovered the practice of mindfulness and meditation. She began to focus on her breath, the sensation of her feet touching the ground, the taste of her morning coffee. She found joy in the present moment, the now, instead of constantly worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. Now imagine John, a retired teacher who struggled with feelings of restlessness and unease. Through meditation, he found a way to quiet his racing mind. He found solace in stillness, in just being, without the need to always do. Emily and John are not alone. Countless individuals have experienced increased happiness through practicing mindfulness and meditation. These practices are not about escaping reality, but about fully engaging with it. They help us to stay present, reduce stress, and cultivate an inner state of peace. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, our minds are often scattered, lost in a whirlwind of thoughts and worries. Mindfulness brings us back to the present moment, grounding us in the here and now. It gently reminds us that life is happening right now, not in the imagined future or the remembered past. Meditation, on the other hand, is like a workout for the mind. It strengthens our ability to focus, calms our minds, and cultivates an inner clarity. It's a journey inward, a profound exploration of our own minds. And in this journey, we often discover a sense of peace and contentment that transcends our external circumstances. In Buddhism, there's a profound understanding of the concept of impermanence, the idea that everything changes and nothing stays the same. This can be a hard truth to accept, especially in a world that often encourages us to cling to permanence and certainty. But mindfulness helps us to accept and embrace this reality. It teaches us to let go of our resistance to change, to flow with life rather than against it. Think of a river, constantly flowing, constantly changing. We can't step into the same river twice, just as we can't live the same moment twice. Every moment is unique, precious, and fleeting. Mindfulness encourages us to fully experience each moment, to savor it before it slips away. It reminds us that the beauty of life lies not in clinging to moments, but in fully living them. As you can see, mindfulness and meditation are powerful tools for cultivating happiness. But they aren't the only tools in the Buddhist toolbox. Compassion and loving kindness are not just feelings, but active practices in Buddhism. In the heart of Buddhism, there lies a duo of transformative practices. Compassion, known as karuna, and loving kindness, or metta. These are not passive emotions, but active pursuits which are cultivated through intentional practice. They are like seeds within us, waiting to be nurtured and grown. Imagine compassion as an empathetic understanding of the suffering in others and ourselves, coupled with the desire to alleviate it. It's a response that says, "I feel your pain, and I wish for it to end." Compassion is not about pity or feeling sorry for someone. It's about recognizing the common human experience of suffering and responding with kindness and care. Now let's turn our attention to loving kindness. Think of it as a boundless, warm-hearted feeling of friendliness towards all beings. It's an unconditional love, free of any need for reciprocation, a love that radiates outwards, like the sun's rays reaching every corner of the earth. To illustrate the power of these practices, consider the story of Ajahn Mun, a renowned Thai Buddhist monk. He was known for his rigorous meditation practice, but equally for his profound compassion and loving kindness. Ajahn Mun often spent time in the dense forests where he encountered wild animals. Instead of fear, he greeted these creatures with loving kindness. As a result, he lived peacefully among them, often sharing his food and space. His practice of compassion and loving kindness transformed fear into harmony, a testament to the transformative power of these practices. But how do we cultivate these qualities within ourselves? Just as a gardener tends to their garden, so too must we tend to our inner garden. Compassion and loving kindness are cultivated through consistent and mindful practice. This could be through meditation, where we consciously generate feelings of compassion and loving kindness towards ourselves and others, or through our daily actions, where we strive to act with kindness and understanding. It's important to remember that this is not a practice solely aimed at others. Compassion and loving kindness must also be directed inwards towards ourselves. Often, we can be our own harshest critics, but through these practices we learn to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we offer to others. By doing so, we cultivate a healthier relationship with ourselves, one that is rooted in acceptance and love. This practice is like a pebble dropped into a pond. The ripples extend outwards, touching everything in their path. When we cultivate compassion and loving kindness, we not only affect our own happiness, but also the happiness of those around us. Our relationships improve as we interact with others from a place of understanding and love. Through compassion and loving kindness, we not only bring happiness to others, but also to ourselves. The journey of cultivating compassion and loving kindness is a journey towards a happier, more peaceful existence. It is an invitation to each one of us to transform our lives and the lives of those around us through the simple yet profound power of love and understanding. There are many misconceptions about happiness in Buddhism. Let's clear the air. Now, we've all heard that age-old adage, money can't buy happiness, right? In Buddhism, it's not just about money, it's about all material possessions. One common misconception is that Buddhists shun all worldly possessions to find happiness. But let's correct that, shall we? Buddhism doesn't advocate for a life of deprivation. It's about understanding that happiness doesn't come from external things, but from within. Imagine this, you've just got the latest smartphone you've been eyeing for months. There's a rush of joy, isn't there? But how long does it last? A week? A month? Until the next model comes out? Buddhism teaches us that this kind of happiness is fleeting. It's like chasing after a rainbow. No matter how fast you run, you can never catch it. On to the next misconception, that Buddhists are always happy. Picture a Buddhist, you're probably thinking of someone with a permanent smile plastered on their face, aren't you? Well, Buddhists are human too. They experience a range of emotions just like everyone else. The difference lies in how they handle these emotions. Through mindfulness and meditation, they learn to observe their emotions without being swept away by them. Now here's a funny one. Some think that to be truly happy, Buddhists must sit under a tree and meditate all day, just like Buddha. Sure, meditation is a crucial part of Buddhism, but it doesn't mean you need to renounce the world and become a hermit. Meditation can be practiced anywhere, anytime. It's about being present and aware, whether you're commuting, working, or even washing dishes. Another misconception is that Buddhists are passive, that they accept whatever life throws at them without a fight. But that's not true. Buddhism teaches us to be active participants in life. It encourages us to take action to alleviate suffering, both ours and others, and to strive for a life of meaning and purpose. Lastly, some believe that Buddhists suppress their desires to attain happiness. But Buddhism doesn't ask us to suppress our desires. Instead, it helps us understand the nature of desire and how it can lead to suffering. It's about recognizing that desire is part of human nature, but it shouldn't control our lives. So, if happiness is not about chasing after material possessions or worldly achievements, what is it about? Let's unveil the true source of happiness in the next scene. Stay tuned. In Buddhism, the true source of happiness lies within us, a profound truth that underlines the essence of this ancient philosophy. The path to joy, serenity, and contentment is not a distant journey to an exotic locale, but a deep dive into the core of our being. Buddhist teachings emphasize that the key to happiness is accepting the impermanence of life. Life, like a river, is in constant flux. Seasons change, people come and go, emotions ebb and flow. Recognizing this truth allows us to embrace change rather than resist it. It's like learning to dance with life, moving gracefully with its rhythm rather than against it. This acceptance is deeply intertwined with the practice of mindfulness and meditation. These tools of awareness help us to live fully in the present moment. They guide us to experience life as it unfolds, without the cloud of past regrets or future anxieties. Imagine savoring every note in a piece of music, every stroke in a painting, every flavor in a meal. That's the richness of the present moment that mindfulness brings. But perhaps the most beautiful aspect of Buddhism's approach to happiness is the cultivation of compassion and loving kindness. These are not just emotions, but powerful practices that transform our relationship with ourselves and with others. Compassion is the understanding that we all share the human experience, with its joys and sorrows. Loving kindness is the heartfelt wish for all beings to be happy and free from suffering. It's like a warm, gentle light that we radiate from within, touching and illuminating everything around us. In this light, happiness is not a fleeting emotion, dependent on external circumstances. It's a profound state of being, a tranquility that arises from deep within, nurtured by our mindful practices and compassionate heart. As we close this chapter, let's reflect on this unique perspective on happiness. It's not about chasing rainbows or climbing mountains. It's about diving deep into the ocean of our own being, exploring the treasures that lie within, and surfacing with the pearl of wisdom and serenity. Happiness is not something we find, it's something we cultivate. We hope you've enjoyed this journey into the world of Buddhism and happiness. It's been our pleasure to delve into the ancient wisdom and practices that have been guiding individuals towards inner peace and joy for centuries. If you found this exploration valuable, we invite you to become part of our community by subscribing to our channel. In doing so, you will gain access to a wealth of content designed to enlighten, inspire, and uplift. From the intricacies of mindfulness and meditation to the transformative power of compassion and loving kindness, there is so much more to discover. Moreover, subscribing to our channel is more than just clicking a button. It's a step towards embracing a more mindful and compassionate way of living. It's about joining a community of like-minded individuals who are committed to cultivating happiness within themselves and spreading it to others. We are deeply grateful for your time and interest. Your engagement fuels our passion for creating content that fosters understanding and promotes well-being. It's a rewarding journey, and we're thrilled to have you as part of it. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, it can be easy to lose sight of what truly matters. Our content serves as a gentle reminder to pause, breathe, and reconnect with our inner selves. To explore the beauty of the present moment, to cultivate kindness towards ourselves and others, and to find joy in the simplest of things. So if you're ready to embark on this enriching journey, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. Let's explore this path together, learning, growing, and nurturing our happiness every step of the way. Remember, happiness is not something we find, it's something we cultivate. So start cultivating your own happiness today.